It is our pleasure to be joined by a man that does an amazing job covering the Oklahoma City Thunder for the Daily Thunder. You can hear him all over local radio. He's the Thunder insider for everyone, people. Brandon Rahbar is in the house. What's going on, Brandon? How we doing, man?
I'm good, man. Now I am the Thunder insider for Gabe and Teddy.
You and Schlett
Exactly.
can battle that out. I'll
Yeah,
let you
no,
guys have at it.
Schlett's really good. Schlett's real. I'll take the silver on this one. I'll give that to Andrew.
Let's dive right into it, man. It's a fun time in the NBA calendar, but Sam Presti made the move early. Some thought maybe, hey, it could be draft night, but Josh Giddey gets traded for Alex Caruso, just straight up. One guy for one guy. How about that? How about how simple this thing is? But what was your initial reaction to the trade?
I mean, I think it's a win-win trade that the Thunder won hands down. Like both teams can win a trade, but getting Alex Caruso for Josh Giddey. Look, I think that Josh Giddey is still a good young player with a lot of potential, a lot of upside. It makes sense for the Bulls, but Alex Caruso is one of the best defenders in the entire NBA. And he can shoot from three. He's going to help the Thunder offensively and defensively. Like it's a massive upgrade. It's a difference-making move for the Thunder to go out and get Alex Caruso. Like he's a dude that every single playoff contender wanted. Like he was highly coveted. So to flip him one for one, my initial thought was like, what picks did the Thunder include to get this trade done? Because that's how highly, Alex Caruso is thought of. So to get this trade done without any picks, one for one is so rare in the NBA. I thought it was a home run pick for the Thunder. I really do.
What do you think this means? How's it going to play into the lineup? Like if you were to, obviously the roster will change some before we get into next season, but as you just kind of forecast it, how do you see him fitting in?
Yeah, that's the big question. Like you could start Alex Caruso in place of Josh Giddey, and it's an upgrade. Like the starters go SGA, Dort, Caruso, Jalen Williams, and Chet Holmgren. And that is a great starting lineup. The big question mark is, the Thunder's one weakness was size, rebounding. And I still think that they're going to go out and get a power forward to play next to Chet. So I think that Caruso will probably come off the bench and be the sixth man. He'll probably play like starter like minutes, like 28, 30 minutes a game. But I do think that they'll still go out and get some size in the starting lineup.
Is that where all that cap space comes into play? Like what type of guy? I know you've probably got a list of targets you want Sam Presti to go after. What type of guy is realistic for them to go out and grab in free agency?
Yeah, I do have a list, and there's like kind of the unrealistic list and then the realistic list. The Thunder could go out and get almost anybody because of all the draft picks they have, because they do have $32 million worth of cap space and they can make some more by trading some guys off. But guys like Isaiah Stewart from the Detroit Pistons, Denny Avita from the Washington Wizards, Cam Johnson from the Nets, like those are the type of guys that I think are realistic and they would be difference makers. Patrick Williams, also from the Bulls. That may seem like too many Bulls in one offseason, considering like how they've looked the last couple years. But guys like that who can rebound, have some size, play defense, and shoot from three. Like the new Thunder guy are guys that can dribble past, shoot, and that can space the floor and play defense. They don't want any one-way players. Like, I think in the past Thunder era, you had all these athletic defensive players that were playing next to KD and Russ and Harden, or you had three-point specialists who couldn't play any defense. Like even the Thunder's three-point specialists now, like Isaiah Joe, they play defense. So whoever they go out and get, it's going to be a two-way guy.
What do you think? It feels like in the NBA, it's always about windows. And how does that play in? Like, how long is this window with this main group of characters? And what does that mean for maybe how aggressive or how patient they can be?
That's a great question because usually a window, you always look at the NBA windows as kind of small because you usually have guys at different ages on different contracts, and maybe one of your superstars has 1 or 2 years left on a contract. Maybe one is a little bit younger, so he has a lot of years. These guys are all so young. Their timelines line up so well. You got your second, third best players a rookie and a sophomore this year. So the Thunder have team control through the rest of their rookie contracts. And then, they hit restricted free agency and they'll be able to keep those guys as well. So this window, the fact that the Thunder became a contender so soon and so early with guys all on the same timeline, and the fact that the Thunder have so many draft picks and so many assets that you can kind of keep churning role players to be around them, this is a much larger window for an NBA contender than you usually see.
Do you think we get a little scared about the window talk because of what happened with the last group? I feel like I don't even want to bring it up, Brandon. It's just, I feel like all Thunder fans, we are so excited about this group, but we're also like, anything could happen. It can all go downhill so quickly.
Yeah, no, I think that there is some like PTSD from the last Thunder team because of what happened, and that was a young team that became a contender really, really quickly. And then, the James Harden thing happened, but that Thunder team still was a contender for a lot of years, but they just kept getting hurt every year. Like you had a KD injury one year, you had the Russ meniscus one year, you had the Serge Ibaka injury one year. So 3 years of their kind of contending window got knocked out. Then of course, KD did what he did, changed everything. But I do think that this team is different from the standpoint of not only, is the window extended because they're so young and because the Thunder has so many assets now to go along with these guys, but also this team chemistry, like, that's kind of an unquantifiable thing. You can't just like look at a piece of paper and say like, hey, these guys are buddies, so they're going to last a long time. But truly, whatever anybody thought of like the KD Russ dynamic and how that, played into the team sticking around or KD leaving or not leaving, these team are really, really good friends. Like off the court, like seeing these guys, hang out off the court, like they're growing up together. They're kids that are growing up together and they like being around each other. So hopefully if you're a Thunder fan, that kind of plays into this team sticking around long-term as well.
Yeah. Hopefully that's going to be the case. I always feel like it has a tendency to change a little bit as everyone makes way more money. It's like all of a sudden the egos start to come out. Gabe and I talked about this a little bit, but I'd love your take. After the Thunder were eliminated, we were able to watch the playoffs unfold and then the finals. How does that make you feel about the future of the Thunder? Better seeing what went down, worse? Like, what do you think of their opportunity at a championship after what we saw the top teams do?
Yeah, better, because the Thunder were one play away from a game 7 in OKC with the Mavs, who go to the finals. Like the Mavs dominated the Wolves. As far as the West teams go that the Mavs played, the Thunder by far played them closest. Like the point differential ended up being neutral through the 6 games. They scored the exact same number of points. And truly, it was that one foul away on the very last play that kept a game 7 from Oklahoma City in OKC. So you got to feel good about their chances in the West, because not only were they that close, but they're going to get better. They already got better. I mean, like the season just ended and you already got Alex Caruso. You got $31 million of cap space. And then on the other side of that, like the Celtics look dominant, obviously. High-end talent with Tatum and Brown and Porzingis, and then all that depth with Derek White, Al Horford, Drew Holiday. But there's kind of a blueprint. And if you kind of go player by player, you kind of see the Thunder right now look like a younger Celtics. Like you got Tatum and SGA, like the MVP candidates. You got Jaylen Brown and J-Dub, like a secondary scorer who scores really efficiently and plays defense. You got the big mans who can stretch and play defense, and Porzingis and Chet. You go out and get Alex Caruso. A lot of people are already saying that's like a Derek White type trade. You got the defender who can shoot and Drew Holiday and Lou Dort. So the Thunder now, truly, if you're going like kind of piece by piece, kind of just need their Al Horford, and they need more experience. They need more playing time together, but you can see the vision, and you can see how this is already a kind of a championship team kind of taking form. They're just in such the early stages of it.
I don't know how, but somehow the NBA draft is on Wednesday.
Yeah.
It used to be the thing that the last couple of years we were so excited for, so focused on, and this year they actually were the 1 seed and went to the playoffs. So it kind of snuck up on me personally, but what do you think they're going to do at 12? Do you think they're going to stay at 12? Like what do you anticipate happening for the Thunder in the draft this week?
Yeah, I think that they stay at 12. Now, Sam Presti, wild card. You never know what's going to happen because there's always so many draft day trades with the Thunder. We saw it last year. They moved up from 12 to 10 to go out and get Casey Wallace. Ended up being a great move, impact player from day one as a rookie. I think that there's a lot of depth in this draft. Like everybody talks about how this is a weak draft, and it is up top. There's no Wemby, there's no Chet, there's no Paulo Banchero or Anthony Edwards. But where the Thunder are picking at 12, there's a lot of really, really good role players who could, foreseeably help the Thunder. If they wanted to make a splash and go out and get like a Lauri Markkanen, like that 12th pick could be included in that trade. I don't think anything like that's going to happen. I think they'll end up picking. Maybe they move up because J-Dub's little brother, Cody Williams, is there at like 9 or 10. And I think he would not only be a fit for the vibes of the team, but also a fit on court. I think he's a really good player. I like guys like Deron Holmes. He's a big Nikola Topic. He was like a top 3 or 5 guy. He hurt his ACL. Might be a redshirt season for him. So they might pick a guy like that because of the value. Kalel Ware. These are some of the names I like. The thing with the Thunder is they don't necessarily need the rookie this year to make an impact. I think they're going to go out and get a couple other guys in free agency or via trade with all that cap space. So it's kind of a luxury for number 1 seed to have a lottery pick. Like we rarely see this. We saw it with the Celtics, actually. It was, again, like kind of going thing by thing with them. So I think that they pick a guy. I think it'll be a nice role player. And, I don't think they'll get a guard. That would be my one guess. I think they're good on guards now. They could go best player available, always a smart strategy. But when you're looking at the needs of the team, I think definitely a 4 or a backup 5 would be what you're looking at.
Yeah, I think you kind of answered this because of where they are now. You think that it's more likely to take a developmental type of player that they can not have to depend on right away and let that player develop. And so maybe a little more, you could see them going with a little more raw type of guy.
Yeah, I can see the argument either way. Like that Topic that I talked about, like if you just redshirt him because he's hurt, no biggie. You don't need him this year. There's a guy named Tijon Salon, compared to Ousmane Dieng a lot because of their physical tools and how Uz was raw coming out and everybody looked at him as a project player. Absolutely, because they're already contending right now and they don't necessarily need a rookie to come in and make an impact. I can see them going that route. On the flip side, I could see the argument of, hey, they're already contending, get a guy who's ready from day one, and boom, you upgrade your rotation right away off the bat. There's a guy like Tristan Da Silva. He's an older rookie that could come in right away. Deron Holmes could come in right away. I could see it either way. The Thunder are just so flexible and have so many options right now with the way that the roster is constructed.
You have not mentioned Zach Edey, which he is being mocked to the Thunder in a couple different drafts, including Kevin O'Connor's. And we all look at KOC's draft there for the ringer, but it just wouldn't make sense to me. Like, what do you think about the entire Edey to the Thunder discourse going on?
Yeah, I get it. Look, like everybody outside looking in, the obvious weakness with the Thunder was size. It was rebounding. It was when Chet was on the bench that they needed some rim protection. So I get the Zach Edey thing to the Thunder. But when you look at the way that Sam Presti has built this roster, like their bigs, they want to play with a 5-out system. They want everybody in the court to be able to shoot. Like Chet Holmgren can shoot the ball. He spaces the floor. He brings bigs out. He provides space for J-Dub and Shea to drive to the basket. Even with their backup bigs, I think that they want to keep that system because they stagger so much. Like Shea's going to play with the backup big quite a few minutes. J-Dub's going to play quite a few minutes with the backup big. So they want to keep that 5-out system. So I almost automatically kind of don't even give any thought to getting a guy like Zach Edey. Like I think he's going to be a good player, like a good bench big for some team, just not on the Thunder. The way that they play ball, like I just don't think it's going to happen. Also on the defensive end, they want their bigs to be able to switch onto smaller offensive players, like on the perimeter, like Chet can switch. Jay will, he's not a paint protector, but he could switch onto smaller players. So that's why I don't see Zach Edey being in play for the Thunder. I would be surprised. I'd be shocked if they went Zach Edey, although it would be fun because the discourse that would follow if they got Zach Edey would be kind of a lot of fun. I just don't see it happening.
And in this draft, and not really Thunder related, but who do you think is going to be the superstar come out of this draft, or if there's multiples?
To me, Alex Sarr is the guy. I mean, like he could go 1, 2, or 3. He was kind of the consensus 1 for quite a while, but lately we've seen him drop to 2 to the Wizards and all these mocks. To me, he's got the biggest upside and the highest potential. He's Olivia Sarr's brother. He's been with the Thunder. He's been a two-way player for the Thunder the last few years. So the Thunder kind of making those inroads, I guess, for the future, because Alex Sarr already said that he's a Thunder fan because his brother played for him. So I think Alex Sarr. I do think that Donovan Clingan is going to be a really good player. Everybody says this is a weak draft because there's no superstars, but every draft ends up having a couple of superstars, a few all-stars. Like the 2013 draft was supposed to be really weak. Like this is supposed to be the weakest draft since 2013. That draft ended up having Giannis. It ended up having Rudy Gobert, Victor Oladipo. So there's going to be some really, really good players to come from this draft. Reed Shepherd could be a lot of fun. 3-point shooter. He can just bomb it. So I could see him being kind of a superstar scorer, but Alex Sarr is the guy I'm looking at.
All right, last one. Prediction time. We, of course, will not hold this against you. Give us one name. The Thunder are going to pick who at 12?
I'm going to say the Thunder pick Cody Williams either at 12 or in a trade up. Like the Thunder already know this dude inside and out. He's already been in the stadium wearing a Thunder shirt, cheering for the Thunder in the playoffs. So they already know him in and out, and he would be a great fit. I just think that the Thunder will do their best. If he's like even closely in the range, if he drops to 9 or 10, I think the Thunder make a move up, or, hopefully for the Thunder, he falls to 12. So I'll say C-Dub.
J-Dub is just J-Dub is just, did you say no Bronny James?
No Bronny James.
No. As the one thing I can say for sure is no Bronny James. There's a much bigger chance that they go Zach Edey than Bronny James. I will say that.
That's I just don't understand why they're making Bronny do what they're doing. But we don't need to talk about it. Hey, Brandon, you're the man. This was awesome, and enjoy the draft on Wednesday, man. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Should be a lot of fun. Thanks for having me, fellas. This is fun.